Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon and happy Thursday to you. I am so excited to conclude the D.E.C.I.D.E series today, the D.E.C.I.D.E model of change. If you are just joining us for the very first time and you're like, what are you talking about with this D.E.C.I.D.E model of change? I'm going to recap it. But today we're going to be focusing on the very last letter, the E. Everyday effort equals expansion, and why this is so important. Guys, listen, if you want to make a change in your life, if you want to quit drinking, if you want to start working out more, if you want to eliminate bad foods and out of your diet, maybe you want to create a new work habit like, reading more books or going for a degree, whatever it is that you want to change or add in your life, this training is for you today as I'm going to be recapping everything. So we are on Facebook. We are also on YouTube. Please do me a favor. If you are watching, whether it's on replay or you're watching right now along with me, please do me a favor. Drop a comment below in the comment box. Like, if you're on YouTube, do me a favor, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel so you get notifications when I'm doing these trainings. And I want to say thank you in advance for that. If you are new to me, I am Carrie Schwer. I'm the owner of Gray Tonic and the Question the Drink movement. And today, like I said, we are going to be talking about making a change, why it's so important, and all the steps that will guarantee you success if you do them and really commit to them. So let's recap, and I'm going to give you an example before we even get to the everyday effort last part of this. I want to give you the steps, and I want to give you a real life example because I think this will be very helpful for you. Okay. So as we recap the D.E.C.I.D.E model of change, the D is to have a desire. You got to have the desire to make the change or nothing is going to happen. If you don't have this strong desire inside of you, then nothing can happen. You're dead in the water before you even get out, right? It's the easiest step of all. Just have the desire. The next step, we start to get a little bit deeper. Actually, this is the deepest step that we have, is exploring your why. I'm going to give you an example of this in just a minute. We need to be committed to ourselves. You need to commit to yourself when you decide to make a change. You have to have an identity shift. It's absolutely crucial and needed. We need to implement daily habits that are going to help us get there. And lastly, today we will be focusing on everyday effort equals expansion, why this is important. But let me go through from the beginning. And I want to give you a real life example. I recently started with another new client, and we just went over I used the 5 why system. Let me write that down. That's a terrible 5, isn't it? 5 whys. So it's a 5 why system. Ooh, that's a bad 5. The 5 why system goes like this. You find your why, but that's not really the root of the reason. We have to keep distilling it down until we find the real reason, the real why, which I'll tell you right now is always something of deep value. It's always something of deep value. So let's use an example of wanting to give up alcohol. Since a lot of people come to work with me because that is one of their main desires is, Carrie, how do I become a non-drinker? How do I eliminate alcohol out of my life when it has been such a huge part for so many years? I don't even know where to start. How do I do it? The first thing we do is I ask, do you have the desire, a deep desire to make the change? 100% of the time it's yes. Now we focus on the why. When I asked my recent client, why was this important to him? He said, well, there's a lot of reasons, but the one that comes to my mind first is I want to have more energy. I said, okay, got it. And why is it so important for you to have more energy? And he stated, and actually I have it in front of me because this was really recent. He said, well, it's affecting my sleep. My sleep isn't as good anymore. I need to get quality sleep. I'm a busy guy, got lots going on. I got kids, and I just don't have enough sleep, which is draining my energy. Okay, well, why is sleep important to you? He says, I want to be excited about what I'm doing. I want to be enthusiastic about my day. Okay, well, that sounds like a really reasonable why. Well, why is that important? He went on to say, well, every problem is doesn't need to be annoying or challenging. Like, I'm tired of being reactive instead of responsive. I'm like, well, that's a really good one. And he's in a leadership role. This is important. He's got to maintain his his integrity. He also has to be able to self-regulate, right? You see how asking this why is starting to really distill down even deeper the real reason? Then he went on to say, I also need more energy with my family, and I want to have more time on the weekend. And I don't want to be complaining that I am too tired or hungover and I don't have time to or energy to play with my kids. And I said, in reality, why is all this important? Why is all this important? And he said, well, I guess it's how I feel about myself. So I helped him at that point and said, this is about your self worth. And he goes, yeah, that's exactly. It's about my self worth. And I'm tired of not being able to stay true to me. I keep letting myself down. Wow. Do you see the importance of taking the time to really explore your why? If you miss that training, you can go back in the question the drink group and see that. But exploring your why, think about the word explore. We're diving deep. We're exploring. You think about an exploration. You're in it to win it, right? It can be a little arduous to go on an exploration. You can't just willy nilly this and come up with a why. Really sitting with it, because that why then becomes your anchor. It becomes your anchor. It becomes the guiding north for you. Everything you do falls back on that why. Because you know what? The moment something comes along to knock you off, like, oh, Jimmy, Susie, it's okay. You can have a drink. You know what? Yeah, you're right. I'll just have a drink. Or, man, you had a tough day and, you want to reward yourself. No, your why has got to be of such deep value that it keeps you steady. It keeps you focused on the reason why you have this desire in the first place and why you want to make this change. So don't skip taking the time to explore your why and go deep with the 5 whys. Next, you must be committed to yourself. Okay, well, that's a gimme, right? But let me explain it to you a little bit further. And again, all these trainings, previous trainings, are in the Facebook group. Not all on Facebook or on YouTube, but they are in the Question the Drink Facebook group. Being committed to yourself is more than just saying, yeah, I'm going to do this, right? Your words matter, absolutely. Instead of I will do this, I am doing this. But you also don't want to leave any backdoor gaps where you can allow yourself to sneak out the other door. Using words like maybe, I'll try, I'll do my best. Those are all BS words, by the way. Eliminate them from your vocabulary. When you say I try or maybe or I don't know, you are not being committed to yourself. Say things emphatically. Be decisive. State what you want and state it in real time. No I wills, I am. You start using language to hold you committed to your newfound commitment and desire for this change. Does that make sense? You got to be willing. So, for using the example of drinking and you want to cut back on drinking or you want to eliminate drinking altogether out of your life, finding your why is crucial. Then being committed to yourself also means that you do things to set yourself up for success, right? You make sure your environment doesn't have the wrong things in it, including alcohol, right? You have to be willing to have an identity shift, which is the I in D.E.C.I.D.E. An identity shift is needed. Let me sit on this for a minute and for a hot minute, because having a new identity is crucial when you're making a change. I want you to think about having a new identity as embodying a new version of yourself. I want you to think about a suit of armor that you're stepping into a new suit every single day until you actually become that person. You have to be willing to take on a new identity. If you want to be a non drinker, you don't want to drink, you must take on the identity I'm a non drinker. I'm alcohol free, right? I'm a person who lives without alcohol. You have to take on this identity. And then what does a person do when they are a non drinker? They don't drink. They don't drink. That would be the first thing. They don't stop at the store on the way home from work and pick up a bottle of wine or a six pack of beer or another bottle of bourbon. They don't have alcohol in their house. They don't hang out with people that's all they do is want to drink and get hammered on the weekends. No bueno. That doesn't work. Someone who is identifying as a non drinker sets themselves up for success. Maybe you go buy some non-alcoholic beer or some de-alcoholized wine or some of the fun spirits they have now, and you find a local dry bottle shop in your area, or you check out Total Wine. You supply yourself with things so you feel like you're still part of something if that's your desire. It's not for everybody, but if that's your desire, say you're hanging out with the guys on the weekend or your kids got a game and they're all drinking. Go buy yourself some NA liquids of some sort, whether it's beer, wine, or what spirits. Bring club soda with some limes on the side, right? Nobody needs to know. But you need to be willing to embody this new identity for that to stick, because that is part of the process. And telling yourself words over and over throughout your day, going back and reading your why every single day, reciting it to yourself, speaking it outwardly will help you shift your identity, because your identity drives all behaviors. If you remember way back, and I don't know how far back it is. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I think it's back here. If you remember from last week or the week before that, we talked about, here it is. We talked about what you believe about yourself affects your thoughts. And your thoughts then create feelings for you. And guess what? Everything you do is stemming from how you feel. You are either chasing a feeling or wanting to run from a feeling. This is why we drink, or why we scroll, or why we smoke, or why we overeat, or why we distract ourselves. Because we don't like the way we feel. And that creates the action. And the action then creates a result. And the result is, it's never good, right? You feel like crap the next morning, you have the shame and the guilt, and there you go through the whole cycle again, because that result reinforces your belief. Do you remember this? If you've been following along, which, by the way, coincides with the Atomic Habits James Clear model of that we have a cue that creates the craving, that recreates some sort of response in us, which is the action that has the reward. But guess what? When we see how it aligns with our beliefs and our thoughts and our feelings and our actions, and then ends up in the result that we don't want, then we can start to make some changes, right? We make some changes. And this is really coming off our daily habits, which we need to align our intentions, authentic intentions, your own personal AI. We need to align your intentions that need to be authentic with your desire. And we need to make sure our daily habits have effort, increased motivation, resilience with challenges, right? Greater sense of fulfillment you will have. And all of this leads to confidence. It leads to confidence. Okay. So let me skip back to here with where we are today. Well, let me just hit on the daily habits really quick. When we want to change our habits, like drinking, our daily habits are so crucial because we're trying to eliminate a habit, which means we now need to create new habits to push out the old habit. So if you're one of those people that come home from work and the cue is the moment you walk in the door, your brain says, hey, it's time to pour a drink or it's time to grab a beer, that's a familiar pattern. That's what habits are. They're automated habits, patterns that we do continuously over and over again. Brushing your teeth, driving the car, writing with your right or left hand, whatever hand you use, right? We do things consistently and they become automated in our brain. They're patterns. Well, when we want to break a habit, we need to break the pattern. We need to change the cues. So instead of coming home and pouring yourself a glass of wine or grabbing yourself a beer, you set yourself up for success by having delicious drinks, alternatives in the refrigerator for you. Just like if you want to start working out and going to the gym, and that's a habit you want to implement, which, by the way, I highly suggest because exercise is a natural way to help you feel good, right? Releases so many good feel good hormones and neurotransmitters inside for us, and those feel good feelings that you naturally will start to want to eliminate the habits like drinking because you want to work out. The working out makes you feel so good. You don't want to risk it by drinking too much the night before. We need to push out the old habits as we implement new habits. And last week, I talked about daily habits, the importance of creating them and having them, but I did not go over specific habits. So let me just run through a couple right now that I think will be very beneficial for you. One of them is drinking a full glass of water the moment you wake up to rehydrate yourself. Go into gratitude, thanking God or your higher power, creator, source, whatever you relate to, thanking Him for what you have in your life. Find something of gratitude. Have your water. Don't just go get a cup of coffee and scroll through your phone. Matter of fact, don't look at your phone. It is advised not to look at your phone for 30 minutes to an hour upon waking. Because when you look at your phone, what you're doing is you are giving all of your daily power to what's on the other side of this phone. That's Piper, by the way. That's my dog. You give all of your power to what's on the other side of the phone. So if it's an email from somebody from work or a client or a customer, or it's a relative or it's a friend, whatever it is, all your attention goes to that first thing that you look at on your phone. And now your day is set up for not for you, but for somebody else. And it really can affect your psyche. It could affect your whole day. Set yourself up to win. And the best way to do that is to have intentions, like I mentioned last week. And you know when your intentions start for your day? The night before. Having your gym clothes out, having your glass of water ready to go the moment you wake up, having your coffee ready to go. You just hit the button, right? Having a full tank of gas. Set yourself up to win every day. That starts to build momentum. And that brings us to everyday effort equals expansion. Expansion. Our goal as a human being, at least for me and the people that I get to work with, is to be able to expand and grow as much as we can and to use our gifts and what God created us in the first place, right? We want to be able to keep growing and have self growth. And when we do, we naturally expand and then we can touch and influence others along the way. And if that's not what you want, well, then I'm not your person. But if you are interested in really learning and working and growing yourself, then this is what you want to really dive into is knowing that you need every single day effort in order to do it. By the way, effort, according to the dictionary, is the work involved in performing an activity. Exertion, I cannot say that word. Exertion. There we go. Exertion. Whew, those are charisms, by the way. Sometimes I make up my own words, by the way. Rob calls them, oh, there goes another charism. So exertion. When we work, if we work with this effort, it's almost to exertion. There's an activity, there's work performing to reach that goal, right? So all of this, everything that you want to change, we can look at as a goal. right? Goals are big and lofty, they're in the future, but how we get there is micro steps, micro little baby steps we get there. And that's what daily effort is. When you put in the effort every single day, you will get better. James Clear in Atomic Habits refers to that getting better and improving 1% every single day. And when you think about it, right, that donut that you have that's just every so often, or the pasta dish or whatever, not such a big deal. But if you continuously do this, maybe 3 times a week as opposed to once a week, you don't see it right away, but over a 6-month period, you will. Do you see? Like, you have to think of it long term when you stretch it out. So when you're putting effort in every day, while it might not seem like you're getting very far, that daily effort is doing something for you cognitively. It is doing like a little checkbox inside of your brain. Done, check, done, check, done, check. And also wins, 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 wins. And when you start stacking wins, that provides naturally momentum that you need in order to be successful. This is why programs like AA that I attended, not a great fit. I needed discovery, not recovery. But the reason why AA works for some people is because they talk about one day at a time. I love that. Yes, one day at a time. We can't expect to bite off a year's worth of growth and success in just one week. It's everyday effort gets us to this expansion that we are desiring. So when you add all these up, having the desire to make the change, knowing that strong why, so that's the bedrock for you. That becomes your anchor. It becomes your guiding north. When you have your why in place and you read it every day to remind yourself why you're doing this, the effort becomes easy, right? Adding in the right daily habits, knowing you have to be committed to yourself and be willing to embody this new identity, this new version of yourself. And when you put all that together, you will be successful with whatever you desire to change in your life. I hope that you found the D.E.C.I.D.E model of change helpful, that you found these trainings helpful, and that you will seriously consider doing this work. And if you want to do it with me, I would love to have that conversation with you. I am taking on just 1 or 2 more new clients right now, and then that is it. I'm almost at my max. So if it sounds like something that you are interested in having a conversation with me, reach out. Let's talk about it. I'll see if I'm a good fit for you or not. And if I'm not, I will provide information for you that can get you to the right place. Sound fair? I am so glad that you joined me today. Again, do me a favor, put a like down below, like this video, like it in the Facebook groups. Please comment, subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube, and I will see you guys next week. Speaking of next week, I have a recorded video that I will be sharing with you. It is an interview with a very awesome woman that is now alcohol free, and she's extremely successful. And I want to share the success story with you. So be on the lookout next week for that. And until then, God bless. Have a great day. Decide what you want and then start implementing the D.E.C.I.D.E model change. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.